Hi everybody, and welcome to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. For this video, we're going to take a look at some posts from Relationship Advice and Am I the A-Hole. If you want to get to the stories, just use the timestamps below the video. But as it's custom, before we get to the video, I'd like to thank everybody who supports me, either as a channel member or as a Twitch subscriber. And on that note, I would like to welcome Taco Aries as the newest member in our YouTube community. And if this is the first time watching one of my videos and you like it, then consider subscribing to the channel and joining us on Discord. All the relevant links are in the description below. Now let's get started with today's stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice, and it's from user throwaway029187. Based on her recent Google searches, I believe my wife, female 28, thinks I'm, male 30, cheating on her. How can I reassure her I'm not? We've been together for 8 years and married for 3. We have a 2-year-old daughter. Our relationship is pretty good and we usually communicate our feelings and concerns pretty well. Or so I thought. And I love my wife so much. She was one of the hottest girls in our high school. We know each other since we were 15. And she is caring and kind and responsible. Now let's get to the problem. So last night, I borrowed my wife's laptop for work. I went on to search something on her laptop, and when I saw her recent searches, I was shocked. Every single one of them were about me cheating on her. My husband has been chatting on his phone a lot lately. What does that mean? My husband doesn't give me attention at all. Is he cheating? 10 signs that means you're being cheated on. My husband isn't as romantic as he used to be. Signs that your partner don't love you anymore. My husband has been coming home late recently. Is he cheating? My husband with high sex drive won't initiate sex. Is he cheating? And etc. I'm confused why she thinks I'm cheating on her. A lot of her questions can be simply answered. It's because work and life has been stressful. I know it's no excuse. I have to pay attention to my wife. It's my responsibility. But still, I'm trying to secure the future of our family. Should I talk to her about it? What should I say? I need advice. Please help. How can I reassure her I still love her? I know this will sound wrong, but I love her even more than our daughter. I'm not going to cheat on her. And once again, I think the issue here is communication. OP, I think you need to talk to your wife, but not about her searches. You shouldn't confront her about it. It could make things worse. She might feel invaded or something. I would sit down with my wife and have a conversation about how stressed I've been lately and how I know my mind has been everywhere else and I haven't been paying that much attention to her because of how stressed I am. Don't do it in a way that it feels like you're dumping your problems on her, but do it in a way that you're confiding on your partner, that you're looking for support. This is key information that she can use and it'll help her put things in perspective, or she might open up to you about her searches herself. The point is, open up and reassure her of how much you love her and that what you're doing is for the family and not because you're running around cheating. What about you guys? What kind of advice would you give OP on how he should deal with this issue? Let me know in the comment section, and in the meantime, let's go take a look at those community comments to see what kind of advice they gave OP. Falafel says, in some sense, it sounds like her searches have basically given you a roadmap for things you could do to allay her fears. Also, talking about how stressful work has been and being vulnerable with her about it, like another person said, sounds like a great idea. Lailay Bean says, this is a blessing in disguise. Apologize to her for being distant and so tired, and suggest having a romantic dinner at home. Set the table, use candles, get wine, use the pretty plates, even if the food is takeaway. Make some small changes and do them regularly enough to make them a habit. When one of you gets home, go find the other person and greet them. Smile and look at her eyes. Communicate for 2 seconds of facial expression that you're happy to see her. Kiss her good morning and good night every time. Hold her hand or leg in the car or when you're watching TV together. Compliment her regularly. Thank her each time she does something kind. Don't underestimate the power of looking at her and smiling. Watch a funny movie and share the joy of the moment. And OP responds, Hi, thanks for the advice. It made me a bit emotional because it reminded me how romantic I was and should be with her. I've really lost myself. I've planned something. It's going to be a great night. And after that, I'll talk to her. Thanks for the advice, everyone. And I'll try to update y'all if I have the time. Black and Orange Cats says, Step 1. Phone down in the evening and full attention to the family. Step 2. Bunch of flowers and handwritten card thanking her for her support as you have been so stressed with work you couldn't function without her. And realize this is probably true. Step 3. Acknowledge how having a baby may have affected her mentally. Body, work, marriage balance. Step 4. Back to basics. Kisses on the nose, hand holding, etc. Step 5. Talk about why you love her, etc. Well, it sounds to me like OP has received some pretty solid advice from the community, ranging from taking the search like a roadmap on what he can do to make his wife feel more confident within the relationship, to different things that he can also do to make it more romantic, spice it up, and, go back to the basics. And the good thing is that OP acknowledged all of it, and he said he would give us an update when he had the time, which he did. So let's continue with the update now. So, the night after I made my post, my mother took our daughter to babysit for the night, and I planned a special romantic dinner and night for her. This all happened yesterday. I first took her to our favorite place in our city, the place where we usually met when we were teenagers and when we first started dating. Then, I took her to a romantic restaurant, and when we got home, we watched a couple of movies, and I had a couple of personal things planned that we did. It was a simple night, but we both enjoyed it. After that, today I opened up to her. I told her I have noticed she looks lonely and depressed. I said how much life has been stressful for both of us, and I'm aware that I haven't been myself for a while, but I'm finally getting everything together. I also told her how much I love and appreciate her. I also told her I know how hard it is to take care of everything a child does and being stuck at home with it 24/7. And when I don't support her and give her attention, it makes it 100 times harder for her. I promised to split our daughter's responsibilities once this stressful phase in my job ends, and it's going to end very soon. She told me ever since she gave birth, she has been very insecure about her looks, and she knows her looks were always important to me. She lost a lot of confidence in herself and thought maybe I won't give her attention because of it, or I've fell out of love with her. And I said I still think she is the prettiest and hottest girl on earth, and that there are still guys who are bitter that you didn't go on a date with them. She really is. I wasn't exaggerating. She apologized and admitted she believed I was cheating on her for a while and she feels guilty about it. I was really shocked when she admitted this. I was not expecting that. And this is pretty much it. I held her in my arms and we basically cuddled the entire day. We promised each other to always talk about our concerns again, no matter what. Again, I left some stuff out because they are personal, but this was pretty much the summary of everything that happened. I wanted to thank you all for all the great advice, whether it was about the little things that I should do or the way to approach this situation. I know some said to suddenly change how you do things, but I wanted to be honest. I love her more than anything and anyone. She was and always will be my main priority, no matter what. I want her to be happy. I think we are a lot closer now that we've opened up. Thanks again, everyone. English is not my native language, so sorry if there are mistakes in my grammar or writing. Well, OP, this is great news. The community came through, the advice they gave you helped out, and now you're in a better place in your relationship. You opened up, you communicated, you told her how you felt, and this helped her open up and confide in you too. You both grew from this, so congratulations. And all the best in the upcoming future. So on that note, let's move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole? And it's from user HonestDoctor8039. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife she's not the boss? For starters, my 41 male, wife 39 female have been together 16 years. When she met me, I was at the height of my business and starting to go up from there. Even during the pandemic, my business is still booming. I had my own house that I lived in by myself, a couple cars and a cottage, although that is unrelated. I own my own factory refurbishing various re-engineered equipment, mostly HVAC stuff, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. About 3 years after we got married, she decided she had enough of working odd jobs and making not so great money at it. So she expressed she wanted to be a stay-at-home wife. I had no problem with this. We don't have kids and don't plan on having any, so I saw this as a win-win as she got to stay home and I came home to a nice house. After 3 years of this, she was tired of being a stay-at-home wife and wanted to rejoin the workforce. Since she could really only find odd jobs, I suggested she work at my shop. I pretty much created a job for her doing small admin stuff. Nothing crazy as I used to do all of this myself plus work on the floor, but this took a load off my shoulders. Obviously, she got paid a healthy wage for her work and I hired a cleaner to come in once a week to help us clean and maintain the house. On to the problem. One of my workers accidentally ordered 20 of one part instead of 2. This was a bit of a big deal as now instead of being out a few $100s, I'm out thousands. While I wasn't royally pissed off, this did put a large dent in my overhead, so I had to offload these parts. Barely made my money back, but that's beside the point. My wife, however, found out and absolutely berated this poor guy. I've had this guy work for me for over 10 years and his work is solid. He's a hard-working man, 2 kids, another on the way, and he's become my go-to guy for almost anything. I didn't hear any of the situation until I heard screaming from my wife that she was going to fire him and he cost her hours of rework and budgeting, etc. This is simply not true, as 2 phone calls and some editing on our books and everything would be right as rain. Tops a 1-hour affair. She and him finally filled me in and I told her to leave the room so I could talk to him. She refused. I asked again and once again she refused. I asked one more time and my worker was on the verge of tears and I yelled at her and told her, "You're not the boss. I am. I make these decisions. Now leave." I talked it over with him. We made amends as it was an honest mistake and he hasn't had a screw up like this since he started, so I'm not concerned about it happening. My wife was livid and after yelling about his screw up has refused to talk to me. I'm clearly in the doghouse here, but I refuse to think I did anything wrong as she was, in my opinion, being needlessly unreasonable and on a power trip. Am I the a-hole? No, OP, you are most certainly not the a-hole. You are absolutely right. She is not the boss. Those people don't report to her. Just because she's your wife does not mean she has decision-making authority to do something like that. If she wants to be a manager, she should first learn to be one. You don't scream at people when they screw up. And as the leader that you are, you asked her to leave before you talked to your employee because you never call out people in front of others, because that generates mistrust and a bad work environment. If we nitpick, we could call you an a-hole for screaming at your wife because you could have dealt with it differently. After the 3rd time she refused to leave, you could have asked your employee to leave because you need to speak to her privately. So the way I see it, you've got 2 options. 1, you fire her, which I don't really think you want to do. Or 2, you define her role and responsibilities and make sure that she understands that none of these guys, the floor guys, report to her. What about you guys? What do you think about this situation and about OP? Let me know your judgment in the comment section and let's move on to the community judgment. Hal Kiki says, not the a-hole. If your wife pulled that crap in any other job, she'd be fired on the spot. At work, she's your employee, not your wife, and she has zero business treating your employees like this. Employees with far more seniority to her, nonetheless. Breadcrumb Forest says, not the a-hole, but this is one of the reasons many people refuse to mix business and family. It inevitably becomes personal, and not everyone can separate the two. It's just not the girl says, not the a-hole. In fact, if any of my employees pulled that kind of crap, screaming at and threatening to fire someone who worked for me, they'd be out on their ass so fast. The fact that your wife did this and has put you in the doghouse when she was the one so blatantly out of line, it's not funny and shows what kind of person she is. If you want to save any kind of face and earn back your employees' respect, you fire the wife. Then think long and hard about your relationship. Marriage counseling should definitely be on the plan for how insanely disrespectful she is to you. Well, it seems like the community also thinks that OP is not the a-hole. And I do believe I'm more in line with the second commenter about not mixing business and family. But regarding the last commenter, apart from them saying not the a-hole, I don't agree with anything else they're saying. There are many different possible explanations for why the wife started screaming. This being her true personality, I don't think it's one of them. She could have been having a very bad day, being frustrated, and just took it out on that one guy. Now, I'm not excusing what she did because it was absolutely wrong. But the point that they're making that this blow-up shows the kind of person that she is, so he should rethink their relationship, I find that point ridiculous. Human interactions in the workplace are very complex, and there's a big difference between a boss and a leader. But again, that's beside the point. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I certainly did reading them to you. So if you did, then go ahead and give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and become a member of our Discord community that just keeps growing, and it is fantastic. The links are in the video description below, along with other links like my Twitch, where I also live stream Reddit stories live every Monday through Friday. And finally, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys enjoy this content, so thank you once again. And having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.